What's up everyone? Welcome or welcome back to the Marketing Nomad YouTube channel. I am the Marketing Nomad. Alrighty, so let's talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life. So I don't know if you can see the board behind, though I think the camera settings is such that it will be a little bit blurred out. But if you can look at the whiteboard at the back, yeah, I think I'm pointing to it, you can suddenly see lines. It was probably there in the previous video, but before that it wasn't there. I'm pretty sure of that. The reason is I've actually made some changes in my life, and I learned quite a bit through that. So I wanted to take some time and sit with you and share what I have learned, or whatever I've learned previously, how I'm actually implementing it into my life. So that is me actually, hold on, a little bit of optics over here. Okay, yeah, that is me trying to create a routine for myself. I have been trying to do this for 5 months now. Yeah, it's been a while, and I've really been struggling to create a routine of sorts for one aspect of my life. Don't feel too comfortable sharing about it just yet, just that it's a little bit of a sensitive area for me because I'm really struggling so hard with it. But I do want to share my takeaway, and I want to share my thoughts on creating a routine or doing something that maybe is something you haven't tried before, or maybe you tried and failed in the past. In my experience, in my case, it was tried and failed multiple times in the past. It's also something that I wanted to do for myself, just create this routine for myself, and it's definitely a part of my life that I am struggling with at this point in time. Now, something that I feel I was a little bit hard on myself maybe in the last 2 or 3 years. I will say, with respect to this aspect of my life, I would keep saying, well, other people can do it so easily. Why is it so difficult for you? And I never really had an answer for that. I think that there was a lot of frustration that was building within me, that I was struggling to do something that maybe a lot of people around me or even online seem to do it with ease. And I feel like this year, one of the things that has kind of come to my understanding is that every single person, we have certain things that will come very naturally to us. The moment we set our mind to it, we will just automatically be able to move forward with it, and it will progress very naturally. However, just like there are things in our lives or certain aspects of our lives that will flow to us, there will be some things that will have a very big learning curve for us, and it is very individualistic. It is very catered to your strengths, your weaknesses, the resources that you have around you, your mindset at that point in time, your limiting beliefs, what you perceive to be good for you at that point in time, aligned for you, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of factors which makes it very individualistic. And something that I have come to understand is that I cannot compare the speed at which someone does something to the speed at which I have to maybe even try to do it, or even try to put it as something that is important in my life. There is, for certain aspects, there will be a bigger learning curve for me, a longer time that I have to take, and that's okay. There are certain things that will come naturally to me that may not come naturally to someone else, and that's okay as well. There is no right and wrong, no one better or worse, no one good or bad. It is just to do with the individual's strengths, weaknesses, perceived weaknesses, or even just their mindset, what they're going through at that point in time as well. There's so many different factors. And so something that I kind of have been telling myself a lot this past year is that it's okay if it is taking me more time than maybe a friend of mine to include this routine into my life. It's okay if maybe for someone else, the very natural step is maybe from 0 to 1. All right, step 0 to step 1. And maybe because it is something that I might not necessarily flow naturally with. It's something that I have to learn from scratch. It's something that maybe works against a lot of my limiting beliefs, my insecurities, my thought processes, and I have to rewire that. So maybe my first step should not be step one. Maybe it should be step point one, and that's okay too. That's okay too. If my first step is point one and someone else's first natural step is step one, that's okay. I shouldn't, berate myself. I shouldn't feel bad that I have to cut down what feels like a natural step for other people into much, much more tinier steps that can align with me, that I feel comfortable moving forward with, all right? Because a lot of times I've seen in the past, and I've done this a lot, is that every time, especially for things that may not feel very natural to me, it's something that I have to rewire a lot of my thought processes, a lot of who I am, like a big portion of who I am, or maybe even not even big portion, but it could be that I've done it for so long that it's become like a very solid part of me that I have to rewire. Yeah, especially in those cases, I feel like I regress. If I go from step 0 to step 1, I regress. I will do it for as long as maybe a couple of days or, whenever the momentum is there. But when I lose the momentum or when it starts to get overwhelming for me, I realize that I regress completely. I go back to step 0. And in fact, sometimes I go on the other extreme as well because I've not been able to sustain that step, that to my perception. In my perception, it's a big step, but for someone else, it could feel very, very natural. It could feel like, yeah, it's the next immediate step for them. And that's when I, stop to think. There are certain things, certain aspects of my life that what might seem like a natural step to me might actually feel like a big step, a very, very big step, or too big a step for other people. And that's okay too. It works all ways, So that's something that I've come to understand, that if I feel inspired by someone, and maybe they're taking a step for their life and it feels very natural to them, they're able to keep the momentum going, they're able to sustain it for a long period of time, and I feel inspired by that, I not necessarily have to make that my first step. I can, depending on, my openness to it, or, how difficult or easy it is, or how naturally it flows, or against my current flow, I get to break that down into much, much more tinier steps so that I don't regress. And that's exactly what this board, I'm struggling to look at it on the camera there. Yeah, that's exactly what that board has been. I have tried many, many different ways to inculcate this routine into my life. And it took me a long time to realize that that step 0 to step 1, what seemed natural for someone else, it wasn't natural for me. There were a lot of things that I needed to work through even to get to step 1. So that board that you see is actually me breaking it down into not just point 1, but 0.01. All right, so it's probably going to take me 100 mini steps to get to where other people's natural first step is, but it is a place, or these are steps that I feel I will not regress. And it's also keeping the momentum within me. It's also giving me the space and time to learn what I need to learn in order to reach step number 1 for other people, like, that perception of it. And I'm allowing myself that grace. I'm allowing myself that time. I'm not putting pressure on myself, but at the same time, I want to keep moving forward. So for me, it's technically 0.01 step that I'm taking, and it's something that I'm taking every single day. All right. So I'm hoping that by doing this, I've been doing it for a little while now. So I'm hoping that it will not make me regress. And I'm already feeling that energy within me. I'm already feeling like, yeah, no, this is something that I will do regardless of what's going on in the day, my mood, my what's going on at work, my time constraints, so on and so forth. Regardless of all of that, this is the bare minimum, or this is one step that I can just do, and I will do this consistently until I feel confident enough to take what is perceived as step one for other people. And I'm already feeling that, and I feel like that has put me in a much better spirit. It's put me in a much better energy as well. Like I feel that momentum going, rather than trying step one and trying to be consistent with step one when I haven't even learned how to take that step, or just that step was too big for me. Sometimes it just is that. Right? So the reason why I wanted to share with you is because this has been on my mind for a couple of months now, like trying to get this to work out for me, trying to get to a point. And I feel like the first probably mistake that I made when I started out is I heard from someone that it took them 3 months, and I was like, okay, I want that same timeline for myself. And then I must have hurried through, like subconsciously I must have hurried through what I needed to figure out. And so then my first thought process was letting go of the timeline and adjusting to the timeline that I would take, not what someone else took, but I would take. That was my first mindset shift. The second one was with that timeline, I said, okay, I'm going to keep doing step one again and again and again, make it into a routine. And then it doesn't matter if it took person A 3 months, it's okay if it takes me like 6 months or a year, it's okay. So I came to that reconciliation, but still step one was too big for me. And so I've been breaking it down. From step one, I made it step 0.5. That also didn't work. Then step 0.1, that did not work. But it was I could feel the difference. I could feel like I was able to sustain it a lot longer than I did 0.5 and a lot longer than I did step one. So I was like, okay, well, something's working over here. So maybe I need to break it down into an even smaller step. And that's okay. There is no shame in that. We're not going to berate ourselves. We're not going to, no, certain things. Step one is very natural for you. Certain things you have got to break it down, and that's okay. That's very, very individualistic. It's not that you're good or bad or intelligent or dumb or smart or not smart. I don't know. I forgot the opposite of that. Okay, anyway, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just you. That's it. It's just you. That's it. So that's one thought process that I had, and I broke it down to now it's at 0.01, and it's actually working out for me. So I wanted to share this in case, there's something that you are struggling with, maybe to create a routine of sorts, or maybe to take a step for you, for yourself, for your betterment, maybe for your wellness, for your health, for your business, for your relationship. What else? For your personal growth, for spirituality, an area of your life about spirituality, I did say business, so career as well. It could be also maybe to add fun into your life. There's so many different steps that maybe one would want to take if you're not able to sustain it for long. These are two things that I had to shift. So I was hoping that by sharing it with you, maybe you can also change the way that you're looking at yourself when you are trying something that maybe doesn't flow naturally to you. I also hope that you will be able to release yourself from any timeline that you might be holding yourself and putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. I also, because I feel like sometimes we don't know our strengths, we don't know our weaknesses. There are some aspects of it, or we don't know how long we are going to take individualistic to learn something. Sometimes it could be faster than we think, but sometimes it could also be slower. Maybe there are a lot of limiting beliefs that need to be rewired before you can take the next step, before you feel comfortable enough to add it into your life, to feel stable enough by adding it into your life. So I feel like we don't take all of that into consideration just because it was fast for someone, or it was a certain timeline for someone, does not mean it should be that timeline for us, or we shouldn't hold ourselves to that timeline. And the other way also works, just because something works for us in a certain timeline, like, oh, I did this in 3 months, I cannot expect that out of someone else. I cannot hold someone else to the standard that I did. I can't, because they've also got their own things to rewire. They could do it faster than me, but they could also do it slower than me. So the vice versa also works. I feel like just being in the thought process also helps us feel kinder to other people and more compassionate for their own journey. So the vice versa also works. And then I also wanted to share this with you in case, you're struggling to make a big step in your life. I would say try to break it down. Try to break it down, go for it. If you're still uncomfortable, if there's still something not working out, don't berate yourself. The problem isn't with you. The problem is with the size of the step. So break it down even more. I told you from 1, I went to 0.5, then 0.5, 0.1, 0.1, 0.01. I'm at 0.01 right now. And if it didn't work, it's working now, yes. But if it didn't work, then I would break it down even more. I would really break it down even more. And I was prepared to go that distance as well for myself, because this is something that I really want to include in my life. I do feel like it's going to add to my life. So maybe now the timeline's not going to be 6 months for me. Maybe it's going to take me a year for me to, feel stable with 0.1, keep making those progress, then get to 0.5, then maybe 1, then 2, so on and so forth. So I'm okay with that, and I feel like it was a process for me to be okay with that. I wasn't okay with it in the beginning, or I guess I just felt that pressure that, oh, that person did it in that amount of time, so I got to do it in that amount of time, or that is the amount of time that a normal average person takes. But what is normal? What is average? Don't hold ourselves to that standard. I don't think we should either as well. And we shouldn't hold others to that as well. So this is something that I wanted to share with you. Just something that I'm learning. Like, it's literally going on right now as I'm talking to you. I just made that chart and I made it colorful because I love colors, and that just helps me keep my motivation up. It keeps my momentum going as well. It infuses me with fresh energy every time I look at it. So there are little things that I do to keep myself going. You might have some things of yours to keep you going, maybe the method of how you track it, maybe maybe you give yourself a little bit of a treat after you complete the task, after you complete the routine, so on and so forth. But the main takeaway that I wish for you to have is, if the step is not working out, break it down. Break it down, try it out. If that does not work, break it down even further. If that does not work, break it down even further. Break it down until it is a sizable step for you. Not for anybody else, but for you. All right? And that is what I've done. That is what I feel comfortable with, and it's difficult. Like, this aspect of my life, it's always been particularly difficult for me. But that's what it amazes me, because there are certain aspects of my life. Step 1 for me will actually be step 10. There are certain aspects of my life where step 1 is step 1 for me, but certain other aspects of my life, step 1 for me has to be something that's broken down into much, much smaller pieces. I get comfortable with that. I learn what I have to get to that, and then I raise it up slow and steady. And it takes me a longer time than most in certain aspects of my life. In certain aspects of my life, it takes me shorter time. Or people have looked at me and said, how do you do that? But that's what I said. We each have things balancing out within us, So that's something that I've been thinking a lot about. So I wanted to share that with you, because I feel like in every aspect of our lives, I feel like there's always something that we want to, try. We want to maybe improve ourselves. We want to get better at it. We want to maybe create a routine for something. I do feel like there is a tendency, especially when we are deciding to shift into the next version of ourselves, or add a new layer to ourselves. I feel like there's a tendency to be harsh on ourselves, or unkind, or not be compassionate about how long it would take us to get to that point, or to feel comfortable in that layer or that new version of ourselves. So I wanted to share that with you. This has definitely been a big, big learning curve for me. I feel like all this year, that's all I've been doing. I mean, that's not all I've been doing, but that has been my primary focus. And it's taken me, I had like toe injury, a very bad toe injury in February of this year. And I started this probably, I would say May, So it's taken me until December to come to a point where I said, okay, you know what, we're breaking it down into 0.01. But it's not like I wasn't working towards the goal all this time. I was, just not in other people's perception. Maybe other people would think, well, what is she doing? Or, why is she taking so long? Or something of that sort. So yeah, it probably started in May or June for me. But it's taken me this long. But even when other people couldn't see any progress, I knew that even realizing that 0.5 was not working out for me, like giving it a try, trying it out for a few days, it still was progress in my opinion. It still has been progress in my opinion. And I feel so good. I feel so good about this 0.01 step that I've come up with. And yeah, like I said, I broke it down. And I think that's the thing that matters the most, the fact that you don't give up, the fact that you realize that it's just not sizable for you, and that's okay. That's nothing to do with your intelligence. It's nothing to do with your capabilities. It's just you need a sizable one for you. So break it down to something that's sizable for you. And I gotta tell you, there are certain limiting beliefs that I didn't even know I had, that I had to work through in order to get to step 0.1 or 0.01, yes. In order to get to step 0.01, there were limiting beliefs that I didn't even know I had, that I had to rework. And there were things in my mind that were going on that I needed to reframe, other things in my life that I needed to shift in order to even get to step 0.01. So sometimes it's external circumstances that need to shift in order for you to make that step. So I feel like it's very difficult for our conscious mind to figure out all of these factors. So that's why it's very difficult for us to predict, like, oh, step 1 is going to be amazing for me. I can absolutely do it, or I can do it in this X amount of time. No, it's not. I don't think it works that way. So sometimes it's just about letting go, understanding that there are things working beyond your understanding, in your mind, maybe externally as well. So if it's not working out, if step 1 is not working out, it means reduce, bring it down to a sizable one, so that you can work with what you have, but you are also evolving in that process, and you're giving that space and time that you need specifically to build into that next version of you. Alrighty, I feel like the camera has been going lower and lower as I went through the minutes of the video, right? Yeah, I don't know why I felt like it. Okay, anyway, I'll check it in the video. Anyway, this is where I will leave you for today. I really hope that this video helped you in some way. If it did, if you have any thoughts about it, definitely let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, don't forget to give me that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because that tells you every single time I do upload a YouTube video. I'll catch you in my next one. Take care. Bye-bye.